Is anybody, all right, recording in progress. Uh, I see a lot of names. I don't see pictures. So anybody that says can produce a picture would be very helpful for me. I like to grok them.
Yeah, we love to see everyone. Good.
Hi, Tanya.
So, as we begin this, as an extension of the conversation I had with Stu, where we talked about holding space and connecting with each other with our energy, we thought it would be nice to sit here together for just a moment and hold space with each other before we start. So I'm going to, you can join however you want to at home. I'm going to close my eyes just for a few moments, take a few deep breaths in, and ask you to join me. Right? So here we go. Take a big breath in. Hold for 4 seconds. Breathe out for 4. Breathe in. Hold for 4. Breathe out. One last time. Breathe in. Hold for 4. Breathe out. And as we sit here, just visualize a light shining on you, through you, and expanding from wherever you are to wherever we are. So we're all sitting together in an expanded, beautiful light of love. Breathe in. Breathe out. All right, so now we can all come together and start our conversation. As a starting point, just
Carrie,
thank you.
I just have a insight of the week.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
This will just, I won't be doing a lot of talking, but I want to give you the insight of the week.
Love it.
My insight of the week is the terrible problem of competition in our culture. Competition masks love. We can't love if we're trying to get better to compete with other people.
Yeah.
We just have to be ourselves and love other people. And competition is wonderful for games, for kids. For me, I love to watch the Lynx basketball, professional women's basketball. Wonderful for competitive games. But when the game is over, somebody wins, that's great. But it doesn't not you winning or losing.
Yeah.
That life is win-win for the benefit of all sentient beings. And that's it.
Well,
I was going to say, but so hold that in mind when we chat here, because some things might come up for each of you that you might want to share about competition. I had a friend of mine I had lunch with yesterday, told him about this. He's a shaman guy, not a lawyer. He said, oh my gosh, I had 2 friends yesterday telling me wonderful things about themselves. And I was 70% with them and 30% envious. So that got in the way of his just being able to love what was happening with his friends. Good example. Of course, capitalism is totally competition.
Yeah.
All for the benefit of me. What about me? Money, money, money. Okay, enough of that.
I'm just gonna say, for anyone who wants to join in, please feel free. If you want to type your comment into the chat, feel free to do that as well.
Well, that's all this is going to be as far as I'm concerned. Everybody else participating.
Yeah.
So Carrie, you don't have to lead this.
Okay,
Just relax.
okay. I
Just
do want to
relax.
share one thing though, because I think it's
Yeah.
exciting how you, and then I'm going to open this up for everyone. Think about competition. Why I think this is exciting that you mentioned this today
All
about
right, but
competition.
you don't have to lead it.
No,
It'll
no,
either happen or it won't.
no.
Okay?
Okay,
Right? Let go.
I'm
Let
relaxed
go,
now.
Carrie. Let go.
Okay, but I want to share this story because the timing.
Right.
Last night, I was talking to a dear friend of mine, and she said, "How can I support you?" And I said, "Well, yesterday I went on Facebook and saw a friend of mine who left the practice of law to become an actress, and she has an acting gig. And instead of being 100% happy and excited for her, there was part of me that was jealous." And she mentioned Stu's comment about competition to me just last night.
Wow.
And so that's why I wanted to share it with us, because that competition sneaks in even when we may not think of
That's
it.
right. That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. Exactly.
So
In fact, I find sometimes when I try to correct something that somebody does, that I'm being competitive.
Yeah.
You know, trying to get one up on them.
mm.
So I didn't mean to get one up on you, Carrie.
That's all right. But it is it is hard to, I don't want to say hard, different to spot how competition plays a role in our lives. Has anyone had an experience like I had similar with my friend last night recently, where competition affected your mood, your outlook, your practice?
I have this come up a lot. I don't know. I wanted to put a time frame on it, and I was like, the last few months, last year, last several years. I don't know. Is it always that I'm dealing with this? but exactly that point of when I am like vibrating at a higher energy of I'm generating and creating ideas,
Yeah.
I'm able to celebrate and witness others' success and creations, and it feels very co-creative. But it's so easy for me to slip into the doubts of myself when I'm reading or hearing about other successes. Immediately I question where do I stack up in competition? And I've had that experience several times in the past couple of months. I have colleagues from law school who are published authors now and are getting teaching gigs. And I've been teaching for the past year. And even in this moment of reading, oh, they're teaching, I immediately feel competition of, well, why them? That's not fair. Like, and I think, what? I've been teaching for the past year. Why am I even competing in my mind here? You know? So it's not even when it's logical.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Right.
it's this innate feeling that comes.
Automatic. And the other thing, Jackie, tell me a little bit about yourself. So I don't know you. So
Yeah, this is my first time meeting you.
why don't you tell me something, brag a little bit.
So I'm 5 years out of my law school practice. And so I've been lucky
Where are you
to
from?
Nebraska originally. I went to school at NYU, And I met Kim over the phone. I don't think we met in person yet, but over the phone for my first year of law school. And so I've kind of known about the integrative law movement my whole legal career. And in the past couple of years, I launched my own practice and have become certified in conscious contracts and have been helping Kim and Alala in teaching workshops. And Kim and I are teaching at Quinnipiac together. And I'm needing to update my website, which is maybe where a lot of this energy is coming up since May. I've been wanting to represent. I did my website 2 years ago, and it no longer represents who I am or what I want to say in the world.
Yeah.
And I think that's where some of that competition is starting to arise as I'm thinking about what to put out there.
You know, another thing that you brought to mind to you is when we share something, very often we get no acknowledgement. What happens with women more than men, if women are sitting around chatting, you'll do just exactly what you're doing now, Jackie. You're nodding your head. That's acknowledgement to me. Thank you. But sometimes we throw something out, we hear nothing back. So when we hear nothing back, we think they must not have agreed with me. They must think I'm terrible. Must think that it was hopeless stuff I'm saying. So our job is to acknowledge people. And so one thing that comes to mind is improvisation, you know, the comedy stuff they do. Well, one of the things that improvisation works is because when they're doing that, they always say yes to whatever's going on. That keeps it going. So if I say to you, Jackie, I got a pet cockroach here in my pocket, you know, and you say, oh, how nice. I see it now. And it has a little ring around its neck, and yes, yeah, or you embellish it somehow. And so our creativity goes on instead of being, what if you said, oh, what do you mean there's no cockroach in your hand? That stops it.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you so much. Let's give other people a chance to speak out. If anybody says, I want to know more about people I don't know what's going on, because this is my chance. How many chances do I get to find out what other people are thinking? Practically none. I'm holed up in my apartment now with pandemic, do a lot of stuff with Zooms, don't get out very much, don't get around much anymore. Miss the Saturday night. Ba-ba-da-ba-da-ba. Ba-ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba. Don't get around much anymore. Anyway, move on. Thank you. Anybody else?
Well,
Okay.
I had something when I was watching your video. You made a comment about we can't convince people to change how they view the world and thus how they work in their practice. You can't make people go to this higher consciousness. So how can we invite them to consider those concepts
Love them.
and affect this change?
Just love them. That's all you have to do. Just love them. Anytime I've tried to, I have learned so many horrible lessons trying to do what you're talking about. I had a 40-year friend. I nearly lost him because I was trying to fix him. And he said, you think you're better than I am. Competition, right? Aha. No one wants to hear what you're saying. Because they think it makes you think you're better than they are. I don't try to correct them. Your job is to make sure you're clear. You are clear. Know yourself. And when I was going through alcohol treatment, for alcoholism, when you get out, you want to be a leader. Want to teach other people how not to drink. Well, I better stay centered in learning myself how to do that for sure. So if I have judgments, if you have judgments, those are things to work on. The things you work on are what you need to do to get better in loving other people and loving yourself. Don't have to worry about what's going to happen to other people. They'll do it. But you're a model. You're a model. And when you are loving, you have a transmission. You don't even know you're doing it. But on another level, you're sending them love. And you want to see the results of that. You want to see that they say, oh, Beth, you saved me.
Mm.
No, love yourself. And other people will follow. That's what this is all about. That's what integrative law is all about. That's what collaborative law is all about. Now, the problem, the better thing that collaborative has is that they work as teams with people with an agreement. So one of the things with integrative is you got to find other people that can play your game of love. And if you're playing with another lawyer who is plugged in to negativity, plugged into judgment and competition, particularly, well, I find in collaboration, the hardest people to get into loving context are men. Because men are plugged into our testosterone from way past. Ken Wilber, a friend of mine, Ken Wilber, probably read some of his stuff. He wrote a new book called, not a book, an old book I just found. It said The Brief History of Everything, talking about the power of testosterone. He said, the basic thing about testosterone with men is they do two things: fuck it or kill it. That's it. That says testosterone.
Yeah.
That's the basic thing that men have had to let go of. And women have a different thing to let go of. They have relationship, but they also have a lot of competition among women. Look at people, the things you dress for each other, things somebody's got some better clothes than you do. Kind of stuff kind of triggers us. Competition is just in our culture. And so we have to learn. So one of the things you need to learn, Beth, whatever is going on with you, is, for instance, if you have anything feeling coming about competition, something to work on, judgments, something to work on. Even the people who are doing terrible things in your life, you can have compassion for them. So you can still love them on one level. And the compassion says, I feel sorry for you that you are not able to really experience love right now. But you don't, but that's about all you can do, maybe. That's what I'm telling you, my learning now. And I almost lost that 40-year friend. I had to come back with hat in hand and say, I was trying to fix you. I can't do it. Okay, I want people to share here. Come on, I'm not doing this. I'm here to learn from you guys. So who wants to say something?
Hey, Stu.
Oh,
My name-
hi. Carolyn.
Hi, my name is Carrie Cass. I'm on the faculty of Quinnipiac Law, and I'm had the great wisdom to bring Kim and Jacqueline and a few others in to teach starting last year. But my question really goes back, and my musing goes back to your start of collaborative in the sense, because I'm a family lawyer and
Yes,
we teach your work, and my law school is all about the more non-adversarial child-centered approach to law school, at least the family law part. So the insight you just gave us about loving and people will follow, were you as aware of that when you started collaborative? Do you think that's why in such a short time collaborative went around the world? Is because you weren't trying to push it on people and convince people and you just let it be and people discovered it? Because if so, wow, you were wise at an early age as well as your current age.
people started to resonate to the love aspect. Now, in our culture, in our Western culture, I probably talked about this. I don't even remember what I said in that hour, so you have to remind me. But in our Western culture, what we've grown up with is we are in duality. We have two brains, two computers, a love computer and a fear computer. All you have to do is watch the news and you get plugged into fear. If someone is telling you you're not doing it right, something, you're plugged into fear. And so we try to hold the love side. And you can't hold the love side in duality. You can do the best job you can of trying to hold it. But if you're in an integrative case and you're trying to hold the love side, and the other lawyer or the other client or somebody says something really nasty to you, single, you're back into fear. You're back, and you're then ready to react to that because it's hard. And so years ago, before that collaborative, I did a 8-page little brochure called the insecurity space. So the serenity space. And that was talking about duality, that I didn't know it. I was saying, try to stay in that good serenity side of you. And if you find yourself caught up in the insecurity space, the fear space, then here's some things you can learn to get back into the good space. But it's just hard for us in a duality to be able to stay that. So there's something beyond that. And that's called love, pure love. And that's by removing your competition aspect, you're more likely to learn to just be in the love space. And in the love space, there's no fear. I don't have any fear anymore. So and I don't have any depression. All of a sudden, and I went through months of depression back in the 70s. In the 70s, I was involuntarily hospitalized 7 times, locked up for mental health, manic depressive, 11 times. And so that was a bad decade. But I would go from manic to depression, so this is beyond that. But you don't have to do that. And even learning to stay as much as possible in the love space is a good practice. And so Buddhism, I'm a Buddhist, but Buddhism is all about practice. And in the duality, you need to practice. But beyond the duality, there's oneness, one mind. And we think in our Western culture, is taught by traditional scientists, that your brain creates your consciousness. And when you die, that's it. Because your brain creates it. So if your brain's dead, you're done. That's nonsense. Because there's a consciousness way behind that, way beyond that, called one mind. And you just let go. And part of that let going is learning the kind of things we're talking about with Beth. Your practice is taking care of trying to be as clear as possible in your love. That's your job, because each of us has a separate view of the world. Now, I'm going to say that again. Each of us, all the billion people in this world, have a separate view of the world. And we create that view by how much we feel love and so forth. So if you look in your world and you see a lot of crazy stuff going on, know that you got some stuff to get cleared up. It's like looking in the mirror. If you're looking in the mirror and you see your face is ugly and got all kinds of pimples and black and blue and stuff, know that you're projecting some stuff. So there's a lot of feedback stuff, or if you feel, and it's not that we think about it in our head. Lawyers think about it in our head. It's a heart thing. It's a heart thing. It's a feeling thing. It's not a thinking thing. Lawyers try to figure it out. That's what the questions are. I say, if you have any questions about what I said, then you just didn't get it. It's all right if you didn't get it. You didn't get what I'm just saying right now. You'll call it grokking. I mentioned that word, grokking. I mean, understand totally, not through your head. We lawyers have been trained to think, and figure it out. There's no way to figure it out. It's like Einstein said, you can't solve a problem on the same level as the problem. So that's why you need to get into the higher space. So I keep teaching with my collaborative law work, that the collaborative law people need to learn to hold the highest space they possibly can all the time, to the degree they can. When they're in the duality, you can't hold it. But if the team is trying to hold it and somebody slides into negativity, I say, give them a signal. Give them a signal. Tell them, hey, you're slipping into fear. That's assuming they haven't gotten into the higher space. But it's okay where you are. And it's okay if you don't believe any of this stuff. It's all right. Because it's all going to come out all right. What happens to you after you die is not dependent on what you think. Because I don't know, I probably shouldn't be saying all this stuff, but we're all eternal. We're all eternal and infinite. You don't die. Death is a door. That's all. We lose our place on this earth place. We have to get off this stage, at least temporarily. Now, I'm a Buddhist, so I believe in reincarnation. You don't have to believe that. It doesn't matter. But I say, in my take, I see these young kids coming in now, babies, 1, 2, 3 years old. I said, my God, they're bringing in the first team. But we've been screwing it up. But they're bringing in the first team now. The second team, we get off the stage.
Do
They go,
we have some people raising their hands to share.
oh,
some-
wonderful, wonderful.
So Nicole, you have, please go ahead and share with us.
Hi, Stu, still my hero.
Oh, look who's here, sweetheart.
One thing that I wanted to share, which was about perspective, which is what you were talking about, about looking in the mirror and what the perspective is.
Could you talk a little slower, Nicholas?
Yeah,
Could you talk so
yeah,
fast for me?
I know, I'm excited and passionate. That's what happens. But one of the things about perspective is that if I look at you through a prism, or I
Yeah.
look at you through a broken shard of glass,
Yeah.
you're going to look different. You're not going to look normal. But that's not your problem. That's my problem, because I'm seeing you with a different perspective. So sometimes what we have to do is look at our own perspective to see what's wrong with my perspective, because
Yeah.
actually Stu is completely whole. My perspective is wrong based on the lens that I'm looking at him at. And I think that is what collaborative law allows us to do, is to say, hang on, maybe my perspective is off just a little bit. Let me hear your perspective, because maybe I have to change.
And that's what competition does. It gets in the way. It gets in the way of our perspective. And it's funny, it's me. I just put all this back on my Facebook yesterday. So if anybody can get to my Facebook page, it talk about just exactly what Nicole was saying, talking about. I love you, by the way.
As we are coming close to the ending of our conversation
Oh
time,
my goodness.
I know, it went by fast, huh? I just want to pick up on one thing and ask all of you for your input. When Stu was talking about staying in the place of serenity, even in the face of competition, and it's a practice, right? When we see ourselves triggered and we start reacting, it's a practice to get back into that serenity.
Yes, yes.
Does anyone have any tips or practices that they can share that helps reset them to getting into the place of love when they're feeling like fear or competition's coming back in?
First of all, I want to say that if any of you want a copy of my Serenity Space, which is 8 pages, it's on digital, and I can send it out, for example, to Carrie, and she could send it out to anybody on the integrative thing. And it talks about, well, I do throw in a pitch there about collaborative, but it doesn't have to be collaborative. There's not going to be competition between collaborative and integrative. It's all the same stuff, Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And so, Tanya, I think you had your hand raised before I mentioned something. I think you're on mute. We can't hear you. Now go ahead.
Hi, I'm here with Diana. We are from Brazil. We
Yeah.
are holistic lawyers. I am a Stu student.
I'm a psychologist.
She's psychologist. I am a Stu student since 1997, and I'm still learning to love with him. Also, I'm integrative lawyer student with Kim, and a contributor for her book, Lawyers as Change Makers. And we are very loving in Brazil, but we have a problem. We are very competitive too. So we have to use all these skills learned from these years to be part of this beautiful pearl color. So shiny, all of us shiny a little bit, and be happy. The meaning of everything is happiness. If you don't have happiness, we are in the wrong path.
That's right.
Love you guys. Hope to have you together more time. Say that.
And that's one of the signals. If you're not feeling happy, You know, you're being, and Tanya, we go back a long ways. I love you. Good to see you. And good to see you. I heard about you, but I have met you before.
Diana,
Yes. It's okay.
Yeah,
Carrie,
her
go ahead.
love
I'm sorry, Carrie.
has
Anybody else? Carrie,
Any other questions or any other reset
input,
practice anyone wants to share?
not questions.
Okay.
I have one practice that I use a lot. I always have crystals or something nearby me, and I hand out small little crystals to my clients, because I think very often when you notice you're being triggered, you're noticing your thoughts are, you've got your emotions, your thoughts, and now it's going like this. Just to hold some, it doesn't have to be a crystal, but just to hold something in your hand, which makes you notice the feeling in your hand, which takes away from the thoughts going on in your head. And it's just having that break of, oh, there's something in my hand, it's cool, it's long, it's smooth, breaks the mind connection, concentrating on the body connection. And in that tiny space of time, you've got the space to make a choice to react or to respond.
Yeah.
And you know, reactive and creative have got the same letters. It just
Yeah.
depends on where you place the C. So how are you seeing things in the moment?
Yeah.
And having something just to direct your mind to something physical is a good strategy.
And I want you to know that there are thousands and thousands of paths to one mind and no paths. It's like 1 minute away from where you are now, you can change your view. And some of the things like Nicole's talking about are all one of the things you can do. It wasn't my path, but it was her path. And she's sharing that path and might work for some path, but it's not something, this is one way and you don't get it this way, you're done. No, no, no. You know, it's a sharing of love. Okay, Carrie, I'm sorry. Blah, blah, blah.
No, that is it. Well, speaking of sharing and sharing of love, thank you for everyone for joining us. Stu, thank you for sharing with us. And maybe let's just all take one collective breath in and out together to end. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Breathe in. Hold. Breathe out.
Oh, that Jean, Nicole, Stephen, Shannon, Peggy, Carol, wanted to make sure I said hi to everybody. Love you all. It's been fun. And whoever was here was who was supposed to show up.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, thank Carolyn.
Love you, Stu.
Love you, Kim.
Thank you, everyone.
Love you, dear.
Thank you, Sid. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.